I would even argue that bad form is better for building muscle than good form is.
Bad form is better for building muscle than good form is.
Good form is supposed to be good, right? Good form is supposed to be amazing for you, the best, in fact. What if that was wrong? What if the one thing you were making sure was perfect, that was A1, was actually the thing that stopped you from making gains, was actually the thing that stopped you from progressing? Well, my friends, in this video, you'll be finding out whether you'll have to abandon good form too, just like me. So stay tuned because it's a long one.
Hold up, the setup is not ready yet. Trust me, I know you're thinking, what's this guy gonna start talking about with his dusty old setup? No LED lightings, no signs, no nothing. Let me introduce you. Natural lighting, candle. You ever seen this on someone's desktop setup? I don't think so. I've already wasted this one. Now this one's next. You don't know about the candles. Alright, before you start thinking you need an LED light to be successful, think again. Anyways, welcome to my video, welcome to my domain, everybody. David here, and obviously you might have a lot of questions. You might be thinking, what is this guy talking about? I don't know my own capabilities, I'm lost, I'm doing something wrong. What is this guy chatting about? And look, I understand the frustration. Hold on, by the way, let me introduce you to my desktop wallpaper. Just know that there's a deep and logical meaning behind it. Moving on. So have I got the answers? You're gonna have to watch the video and find out, my guy. You're gonna have to do your due diligence. Now without further ado, today's statistic, everyone, bringing it to you with the candle light. Muscular mass. Let's say it together, muscular mass. Look, it's rising. Muscular mass. Manifest that shit. To be honest, I'm frankly quite disappointed. The clues to get stronger, they were always there. It's just they were in plain sight. What do I mean by this? You guys ever watch Goku? Let's pull up some Goku on my other monitor here for you guys to watch. I hope there's no copyright problems, but let's get going, shall we? Wow, inspirational. Let me introduce you to Goku's training methods. So let's take a gander at this. Let's notice what we see. What is he doing? The anti-gravity, I don't know what this is called yet. Personally, I ain't never watched the whole of Dragon Ball Z. You guys are going to hate me for this. You're going to call me a cynical or whatever, but low-key, it's too long. One Piece on Dragon Ball to do it all over. Maybe when I need it. Maybe when I'm on my villain arc. Maybe when the love of my life crushes my heart. Then I know who to go to. But otherwise, 1,000+ episodes or is just a bit much for nowadays. But anyways, moving backwards, we see what he's doing. He's in the gravitational chamber. What does this do? It applies pressure, and he's wearing the weighted vest. This is Goku's training style, weighted stuff. All he does is add extra weight, add extra stress. You might be thinking, but that's progressive overload. My guy, that's progressive overload. And you're right, progressive overload is amazing, and I will always stand by progressive overload. But this right here clues us in on something even more powerful than progressive overload, alright? Oh. If you haven't got it already, it's fine. I just wanted to give you a clue on the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. You might be thinking, this guy is going to get us to train like anime? Are you stupid? Is this guy in fantasy la la land? Listen, yeah, you don't understand the length I've gone through to make sure that you get this information. Look at this right here. This right here is a PDF document, and here I've made it so you've got everything you need to know about that one system, that one culprit that always blocks you from doing that layup, from making that shot, from making sure you progress. Now, what I'm gonna do, obviously I'm gonna sell this because this is the free version. Think of this as the free version, alright? This video, allow it. You think you're gonna get this for free? You think I'm gonna hand you all of the answers to your problems for free, brother? Listen, you're not that lucky, my friend. You're just not that lucky. You're gonna have to put in some graft. You're gonna have to want to have it. And I'm not saying it's gonna be expensive. Look, there's gonna be two methods that this can be yours. Method number one, you buy it. And that's for the people that just don't care about their money. That's for the people who are like, all right, fuck it. It's just a piece of paper. I'll spend £15 on a piece of paper. But then there's the other method. Don't worry, I'm thinking about you brokies. I'm broke as well. I've got you. Listen, we're in this together. The other way you can get this is by going to the Discord and buying the cheapest role in the Discord, and that will grant you access to it. Simple as that. And if you want like to ask any questions or ask me anything in general, pull through to the Discord, my guy. Link will be down below, obviously. But don't worry, it's not like I'm gonna tell you what the system is and I'm just gonna leave you there to fend for yourself. I'm just gonna throw you into the deep end, fending yourself from the sharks. Don't worry, I've got you covered. This is the free version. Look, I'm gonna give you a rundown on the things that you're going to need to know. Now, what do we start with? We start with telling you exactly who the culprit is, exactly who to blame is for all of these lies, all of this wasted time. So look at this. Bad form versus good form. Which one do you think is better for muscle growth? Half of the people here, we say good form. Now, I agree with you, but I only agree with you 50%. For me, good form is good up to a point where it's not good. For example, good form is good when you're just learning exactly what your capabilities are, exactly how to handle weights, basically. That's what good form is for. And I would even argue that bad form is better for building muscle than good form is. Regardless of whether it's more dangerous or not, bad form is better. You ever seen some giant lug just throw a weight around without no regard for his joints, without no regard for anyone's lives, and somehow they're bigger than you, even though they're the ones doing the bad form, even though they're the ones not following the script? You ever wondered that? You ever clocked? Well, what could it be? Listen, your bones. You forgot a crucial part of your body, my friend. You forgot the main thing that worked in conjunction with your muscles. Yin and yang. Your muscles and your bones, they're brothers in blood. Imagine you're in the womb, yeah, and your bones and your muscles, they're thinking, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna survive. Me and you can rely on me. I can rely on you. They kept growing until eventually the higher ups suddenly decided, Bones, actually, we don't need your help. Actually, just sit down, never work a day in your life, and we will do all the work for you. We will make sure you never work another day in your life. Let muscle do it. Muscle's been trained for this since day one. Muscle can handle everything on his ones. You're not needed, unfortunately. That's what you might not doing when you apply good form. If you don't understand the metaphor, let me explain it a bit further. When they work in conjunction, your bones and your muscles, what is your bone? The foundation. The starter, the thing that holds the whole system together, the skeleton. Why is the skeleton so important? It's the foundation. What is a foundation? A foundation is a structure built to withhold weight, to make sure that it doesn't crumble. What does this mean? That means that if you're someone that's trying to build a decent house, you might want to invest in a stronger foundation. If that hasn't made it clear for you, basically what I'm saying is, the stronger your bones are, the more muscle your body will allow you to hold. Do you think that your body is stupid enough to allow itself to put on so much muscle that its bones couldn't handle it, that its bones would just be crushed? That's what the bone is. The bone is the leverage for our muscles to push against when we're fighting. So what happens when the forces of muscle become too strong for our bones to handle? Nothing good, right? In turn, our body knows, yo, this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know that he needs his bones. Just fuck him, bro. Cut off his gains right now. He doesn't need them. He doesn't understand the process. So all of you, man, have got cut off, blacklisted. And so what are you going to do? You have to rehire your bones, my friend. They've been living in your body without working, rent-free, basically just chilling, and you're going to allow them to just keep living there rent-free. You're going to allow them to not put any contribution to your system as a whole, even though the skeletal system is one of the most vital systems. Personally, I wouldn't take that. So what I'm saying is, the thing you need, the thing you've been missing, all is in this video. All is ready for you to understand. But let me tell you something, alright? If you think you can just go to the gym and start training bone density training and get away with not learning about your bones, get away with not finding out about what happens, well, fuck about and find out. If you want natural selection to catch up on you like that, that is up to you, my friend. But listen, the skeletal system, the bone system, is a whole different thing. I'll be asking you right now, what are bones made of? You're going to tell me calcium. The bones are made of protein, collagen, matrix, with calcium and minerals and so many things. You wouldn't even begin to understand what it would take for your bones to recover at a decent rate. Even when you're breaking them down, you think your bones just magically grow. Nah, man, they need things. They need vitamins. They need certain minerals. They need you to stop smoking. There's so many things in general that mess with your bone density that you're gonna want to know about them so that you can at least not avoid them. I'm not telling you you're gonna have to stop smoking, but just so you know about things you could do to avoid that. Look into it. Maybe there's a workaround. Maybe there's something you can do to supplement the deficiency that's being caused by the habit. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna want to find out. So if you're somebody that wants to find out specifically about what is good for your bones and bad for your bones and how to train your bones and basically everything you need to know about bone density when it comes to building muscle or just when it comes to getting stronger bones in general, copy yourself that one right there, cuz that one right there. Now, without further ado, let's move on. So first things first, how do we know that the culprit is bone density if you don't believe it? I'm just going to go over a couple reasons real quick. So first, let's talk about genetics. What makes good genetics so great? I would argue that one of the main things could be bone density. When you think about it, have you ever had that one friend, yeah, that decides, you know what, I want to come to the gym with you. 2 weeks later, he's already your rival. 2 weeks later, he's already put on enough size for you to be allow it. Just do something else at this point. Leave gym to me. Go back to whatever you were doing. You heard the term black genetics. Black genetics, it's a real thing. More people who are black have better genetics. It's just a fact. Did you also know that the black population has the highest amount of people with high bone density? Did you know that? That black people basically have better bones than us. Coincident? Maybe not. Who knows? Next. Newbie gains. Think about newbie gains for a second. What is newbie gains? Have you ever thought about how bizarre newbie gains is? The fact that you start training, and because your body is not used to training, you just have a mad streak of great gains until your body decides, oh wait, I'm used to it. Don't you think that's a bit weird? That's a bit of a weird conclusion to come to, your body to decide, oh wait, my tolerance to your training is just too high. It's just, unfortunately, bro, you're just not good enough. You're just not like that. To me, that just sounds a bit unrealistic. Just a tiny bit unrealistic. So what's really happening? What really makes sense? What if instead of your body just magically coming up with the idea that it rather just not get any bitches, that I'd rather just chill how it is, maybe there's something that's physically stopping you. Maybe there's something that's getting in the way from you progressing, from you actually making gains. Hold on. We speak on this subject before about something that was potentially blocking the amount of mass that you could have. Okay. I'm not saying that bone density is the one answer to newbie gains. I'm saying that it's one of the answers. What's the next clue, bro? Let me get my phone. Media. Old school bodybuilding versus modern bodybuilding. Look at modern bodybuilding. Everyone's doing slow and controlled reps, or at least half of them are doing modern slow and controlled reps. Now, when you look at people back in the day, what were they all about? Slamming the weights, slamming it up and down, making sure they could move that shit with aggression, with persistence. Now, you look into the gym and you could probably play like elevator music and get away with the vibe. Peak times, obviously, but what I'm trying to get at is that people who are moving the weights, people who were obviously not worrying about being slow and controlled, were also training their bones. They were basically doing the opposite of to what slow and controlled was, which evidently trains your bones. When you look at steroids, they often target your bone density as well, with growth hormone and all of that. So you can look at steroids as also a way to increase your bone density. I personally don't think it's a good idea. My guide also explains why steroids are bad for you or bad for your bones. Hard bulking, why hard bulking works. A lot of people swear by hard bulking. Coach Greg, he says it's useless. I used to think that as well, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not useless. It provides results. It's bad for you, but it provides results. Why does it provide results? Look, yeah, the simple answer is, when you're fat as fuck, you also have a lot of weight on your skeleton. Look at Goku, the way he was training. He had the wristbands, he had the anti-gravity. When you're 2 tons, you got that shit on you all the time. Your bones are there struggling for dear life. They need to get stronger. They are on their villain arc for people who are bulking. They are being stressed to the max, which I think long term is unhealthy as well. I think that there needs to be like a recovery period for your bones and that. And then afterwards, what do you think happens when they decide to cut, when they decide to lose the weight? Real estate. All the weight, all the fat, all the water, the free real estate on your body can then be claimed by more muscle. So hard bulking is good, but it's unhealthy. I can't lie. When you look at transformations from fat versus thin, people who started off when they were thin are always going to be smaller than the people who started off when they were fat. And obviously there are exceptions, but mostly when you look at transformations of Instagram people, if they're fat, they have a higher chance of having more size, having more muscle when they cut down, when they make their transformation. Now, good form versus bad form. Now, let me talk to you a little bit more about that, just so you kind of understand why bad form is better. Why is bad form better than good form? Because it doesn't protect your bones so much. Your bones don't need so much protection if you're healthy. So what that allows your bones to do is become stronger. And then when the foundation is stronger, what does that allow for? More muscle. Good form is bad because it protects your bones too much. It cradles them in warmth and tells them to never work for a day in their life. So look, good form is good for muscle stimulation. Yeah, good form is amazing. But for building mass, for actually building size, I would say bad form is better. Now, before I tell you what form is actually the best for training bone density, you need to understand something, and that is, if you're going to focus on training bone density, you're going to have to realize that you need to cater for your bones. If you want them to survive, if you want them not to fracture, if you want them to handle the stress, you need to nurture them. You need to find out what it takes for your bones to survive. And that's what this video is about. It's about telling you everything you need to know so that you make sure that you have the highest level of understanding going into this so that you don't injure yourself. So obviously, before we move on to saying what movements are good for your bones, how to train them in the gym, how to make sure they are strong when it comes to physical activity, let's go into what it takes to keep them strong externally through nutrition, through habits and stuff like that. Let me just go through a list of things that fuck with your bones. In my bone guide, I basically did a bunch of research on what fucks with your bones, and I found everything that fucks with your bones, and I found everything that is good for your bones. And if you're worried about where I got my sources from, I put all of the studies in the paper as well, so feel free to click through that if you're bothered to do that. Things that fuck with your bones. Smoking. There is a bunch of reasons here why smoking is bad for your bones here. There's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons. Look, here's one of them. Smoking lowers sex hormones. Both hormones are critical for slowing bone breakdown and stimulating osteoblast activity. Lower hormone levels basically means faster bone loss. So that's just one of the reasons why smoking is bad for you. Here, we got drinking. One of the reasons why drinking is bad for you. Disrupts the bone remodeling balance. Osteoblast suppression. Alcohol reduces the activity and lifespan of osteoblasts, the bone building cells. Osteoclast activation. Chronic alcohol intake increases bone breakdown activity. Net effect, you lose more bone than you replace, even if you're getting enough calcium and vitamin D. Now, if you want to find out if what I'm saying is true, go through the studies. Consuming soft drinks. First of all, yeah, I'm not saying that you're not going to be able to strengthen your bones if you're somebody that drinks, if you're somebody that smokes, if you're somebody that does something that's on this list. I'm telling you that it just makes it harder. Our bodies in general, they're magical machines. When one thing fails, one thing will always be there to back it up. So don't think that because you're someone that can't stop drinking or can't stop doing something means that you're falling behind. Low key, you are, but you don't know by how much. Don't lose hope, and don't even drink alcohol. Anyways, so consuming soft drinks. Phosphoric acid overload. Many colas and dark sodas contain phosphoric acid. Too much phosphorus relative to calcium can pull calcium out of the bones to restore balance in the blood over time. This imbalance weakens bone mineralization. Oh, what a surprise. Eating lots of sugar and refined carbs. I didn't think this was gonna be here. A lot of you, you know, your heart skipped a beat. I know you were waiting for this. You were hoping that, please, not my cheesecake, not my monster. It's time, my friend. Anyways, eating lots of sugar and refined carbs. Nutrient displacement. Sugary and refined foods are calorie rich but nutrient poor. They often replace collagen rich proteins, mineral rich animal foods and healthy fats in the diet, meaning that raw materials for bone building like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus and collagen aren't supplied as much as they would back in the days when you used to be out there patrolling the igloos, patrolling the block, patrolling the savannah, banging on sticks on the floor with a purpose, with a rhythm. I swear I was born in the wrong era, I'm telling you guys. Fuck it, I'm dancing to some drums right now. You made me think of it. It's not my fault, it's your fault. But where do we find the drums? Let's just put on a tune, why not? I know I'm supposed to be teaching you something right now, but let me put you on a little tune. I'm dancing with you, yeah. Pretend the camera is you. Yo, what am I doing? Yo, relax. Camera died, unfortunately for you guys. You know, you just weren't meant to see that. You just weren't ready for what was about to go down. But might as well just chat to you while I do my thing, while we in the quiche. The quiche. What are we doing in the quiche? Obviously we're going to be cooking up some dinner. So where did we leave off at? If you didn't understand what I meant in the last section, back in the day when we were out there, you know, hunting our food, you know, the animal, the most nutrients you're going to get is in animal foods, especially for your bones. So what happens when you're eating basically filler calories that don't contribute to your bones? Nutrient displacement. Another one that you're going to hate, another one that you're not going to like. Eating grain heavy processed foods. Okay, now this first point here is basically the same as the last one. Low nutrient density. Processed grains are stripped of magnesium, phosphorus and other minerals during refining. These minerals are critical for activating vitamin D, forming bone mineral matrix and supporting osteoblast function. This is a great example. We in the kitchen. I might as well show you what man's making. We got the green theme on today. What does that mean? Vegetarian. Man's vegetarian. This morning I ate 4 daisies. I went on a walk. I saw a daisy and I was like, yo, let me get that. That's one of the advantages of being vegetarian or vegan. You can just go out there and graze on the pasture. So bringing it to you with the theme of the green. Vegetarian lamb. So obviously one of the main massive things you're gonna want to know about nutrition in general is that vegetation is king. Vegetarians, they're onto something. They're onto something truly, but low key, what's the best way to eat grass? To eat the things that eat the grass. You know what I'm talking about. You understand what I mean. Doing endurance / ultra marathon like exercise, this is one of the worst things you can do for your bones. Okay, peep this. This is the first reason. Excessive cortisol production. Long duration training sessions raise cortisol for extended periods. Chronically high cortisol stimulates osteoclast activity and suppress osteoblast activity. Now, doing ultra marathon / cardio in general, I will always tell you to not jog. If you're thinking of losing weight, you want to lose that belly fat, the last thing you want to do is start jogging. If you don't appreciate, this right here, then go and jog. Go and mess up the whole system, because jogging in general, it's not good for you. And there's multiple reasons why. First of all, it's not good for your bones, okay? Clearly in the guide it says that. Secondly, when you look at ultra marathon people, runners, would you ever look at one of them and think, I would want to look like him? His physique is the physique that I want. He looks like a healthy individual that can take care of himself and his family. Maybe you can run for 10 miles, but your family can't. And it just makes sense. If you want to be big, just do the opposite of what the marathon runners are doing. Let me give you this analogy so that you understand it a bit better. So close your eyes and picture this. You are a gladiator. You've just entered the Colosseum. Obviously, as a gladiator, you get to choose your weapons and you get to choose your enemies. So you go in there, what do you see? You turn your head to the left and you see a cage. A cage with 4 wolves, okay? You turn your head to the right, what do you see? Another cage, but this cage has something else in it. No wolves, just one animal. The massive grizzly bear, the biggest grizzly bear, in fact, that you've ever seen. Alright, now before you make the choice of which cage to go into, you have to choose your weapon. Now, you take a couple steps forward, what do you see? A table. And on this table, there's 2 weapons. But the thing is, there's a catch. There's 2 catches actually. First of all, they're guns. Don't worry about why there's guns in the Colosseum. Second of all, they must have the same amount of gunpowder. On the left, you have a revolver, 4 bullets. On the right, a double barrel shotgun with 2 shells. They both have the same amount of gunpowder, but they can be used in different ways. Now, what weapon are you going to choose to go and face the wolves? You're obviously going to choose the revolver. Why? Because you get more shots. You get more chances to direct energy in different places because you have conserved it. Then the shotgun. It's also got the same amount of gunpowder, but it's built for complete destruction, complete annihilation. One chance, but that chance, you better believe that it's gonna do the job. So obviously, the 2 different cages are the 2 different environments. The bear, where you only really get one chance to defeat it, and then the wolves, where the only real chance of making it is by conserving your energy and directing it in multiple ways. Now, do you notice the size difference in these 2 weapons? The way they're designed very differently. When it comes to guns, when it comes to muscles, the sniper, why is it so massive? Because it needs to be able to handle the stress. The bazooka, then the pistol. Would it make sense for a pistol to be the size of a bazooka? Would there be any use to that? No. So what does your body do? It makes it much easier, more convenient for your body if your muscles were smaller, if they required less energy to move, if they required less resources to use. So, is it really a matter of how many reps you do, but more of a matter of what is in front of you at that moment, in that time? How much energy do you need to expend in this moment for your body to survive, for your body to know that this is the way that you move forward? Guess we're gonna find out. Okay, chronic use of PPI, H2 blockers and steroids. One of the reasons, reduced stomach acid. Basically means reducing mineral absorption. These drugs lower or block stomach acid production. Stomach acid is required to dissolve and ionize materials like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus so they can be absorbed in the small intestine. Without enough acid, a lot of these bone building minerals pass through unused.
Now we're going to be going over quickly about the things that your bones want, okay, about the things that they need. Eat fatty meat for skin, bristle, and connective tissue. Collagen rich here. You want collagen. Your bones are made of 50% collagen. Ensure adequate minerals, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and boron. All of these have primary roles. Their food sources are all here in the guide, okay? You want to avoid calcium-only supplements. Why do you want to do that? Calcium needs vitamin D for it to go in the bones in the first place. So when you're eating too much calcium without vitamin D, guess what happens, bro? Your calcium gets deposited into your kidneys, into places that it shouldn't be, bro. I remember one time I was eating hella yogurt, like 2 kilos of yogurt a day, basically dairy. And what did I find? Brother, I thought my hands were getting dry from like the maximum sodium. But nah, I think it was the calcium just being deposited into my skin when supplementation is needed. Obviously, when you have limited sun exposure, when you work indoors a lot, winter months, northern latitude, if you're a darker skin tone in general, or you're ethnically somewhere that comes from somewhere that's really sunny, where you're used to getting a lot of sun, you're going to want to look into supplementing it, because many people right now are starved of vitamin D. We're not getting enough of it. I live in the UK myself, yeah. And every time it's sunny, I have to go outside, because you don't know when you're going to get the sun again. Take vitamin D, take vitamin K2, MK7, or the MK44. What is the difference? Find out in the bone guide, bro. The calcium traffic cop, okay? Vitamin D opens the gate for calcium absorption. We've spoken about that before. But K2 directs the traffic, basically directing it to the bones. If you're someone with peas, if you're someone who doesn't have to worry about money, you're going to want to eat locally grown and nutrient-rich foods. Animals raised on pasture or natural forage accumulate more minerals. Local food often means shorter time from farm to table, so nutrient loss from storage to transport is also minimized.
Now, what's good physically for your bones? Walking, hiking, and jogging in moderation, okay? Stimulates osteoblast activity, okay? That's one of the main reasons, okay? When the bones are subjected to the impact and body weight forces, osteoblasts, the bone building cells, again, ramp up activity to lay down more bone matrix. This remodeling thickens and strengthens bone over time. Resistance/weight training to stimulate osteoblast activity again, okay? When people talk about lifting weights, they usually think about muscle growth. But here's the reality. Your bone density is the structural limit to how much muscle your frame can handle. If your bones aren't getting stronger in parallel to your muscles, you're gonna start creating bottlenecks, my guy. And the body's gonna hold your muscle growth back in order to protect itself. Maintaining a moderate activity throughout life to signal bone growth, okay? You don't want to be sedentary. That was one of the bad things. And this is basically the opposite of that. Muscle and bone aren't built once and done, They're constantly being remodeled. The moment you stop sending them the signal to adapt, they both begin to lag. And if one drops off, it starts to drag the other one down with it, unfortunately. Obviously, get adequate sleep. Oh, bro, this is blue. Listen, you can train like a beast and you can even eat perfectly, but if you're not giving your body that recovery, you're starving your body of its prime window of recovery. Bone and muscle are repaired and reinforced at the same time during deep sleep. Manage chronic stress. Obviously, you don't want that cortisol. Stress in short bursts can push you forward in training, but chronic stress flips the switch into breakdown mode. Excess cortisol is like hiring a demolition crew that works 24/7, tearing down muscle and bone faster than you can rebuild it. Obviously, you want to optimize your hormones. You want to get that test up. You want to make sure that they're balanced. Hormones are the master regulators that decide whether your body is in build mode or breakdown mode. You can train perfectly, eat the right foods, but if your anabolic hormones are too low, both muscle and bone operate at half capacity. You got all of the roles of the hormones here. Obviously, you're gonna have to get a guide for that, cause you look, how's the stabilization? Don't worry, I can edit it. It's fine. You can even start sprinting. My editing skills are A1. I can stabilize that shit on the go. Why am I here? And why am I even wearing sunglasses outside? You never need an excuse to practice free will. I'm even gonna wear these inside the gym. Spooky alleyway in the dark. Don't lie. Would you be scared walking up to me? Would you be shook? Would you climb the fence? You probably would, I can't lie. But why am I here in this dark alleyway? Don't worry, I'm not about to rob no one. I'm not about to do no madness. This is actually the way to the gym. And I'm bringing you guys with me to the gym to find out exactly what it means to train bone density.
Each of us lives dependent and bound by our individual knowledge and our awareness. All that is what we call reality. However, both knowledge and awareness are equivocal. One's reality might be another's illusion. We all live inside our own fantasies. Don't you think that's true, Sasuke?
smoking. We out here in Pure Muscle Gym. Low-key, one of the best gyms out here in East London. Now, the first thing I want to do is teach you the principles. When it comes to training bone density, there's basically 2 or 3 different ways you can stress out your bones. Number 1, impact. What is impact? So if you imagine you're on a scale, right? Have you ever done a little hop or a little jump on a scale and saw the number rise just for a split second? That's impact. When the amount of pressure increases by a lot for a little bit of time, that's what impact is. And that's what trabecular bone is designed for. Cortical bone. Think of cortical bone as like the brick, you know. All it does is hold up weight for as long as it can. The way you work cortical bone is by doing static squeezes or static holds, anything where you're holding a lot of weight for a long period of time. That's why when you see deadlifters and they're holding it like that, that's a static hold. Their cortical bone is being stressed to the max. Boxers, when they're boxing, the trabecular bone is being stressed to the max. So knowing these 2 different types of bone is really going to help you when it comes to understanding the different ways you want to stress your bone. The last way you want to stress your bone is through rotational stress. Why do I emphasize rotational stress? First of all, when you're rotating your arm, you're using different muscles, meaning that the different muscles you use can grow. Secondly, when you're rotating your arm and there's stress, because the amount of stress is being transferred to different muscles during a movement, that is going to stress the shit out of your bones. Your bones are going to be very confused, causing them to obviously grow bigger or grow stronger in the long run. Let me demonstrate what I mean. You can do this with any exercise, whether it's bench press, whether it's pull-ups, it's the same thing. First, let me show you what good form looks like when it comes to pull-ups. Obviously, good form is going slowly, focusing on the negative. Now, when it comes to training your bones and when it comes to focusing on impact, what you want to do, boom, don't even worry about the negative. Boom, straight up, straight down. That's impact training when it comes to bone density. Second one, static hold training. So what you want to do is include static holds with basically every single exercise, and what that looks like is holding it at the top. So bam, hold, bam, no negatives. Bam, hold, bam, no negatives. If you saw what I was doing there, I was basically making sure, number 1, there's no negatives, and number 2, I was doing static holds. These 2 things are paramount and essential to make sure that your bones are being used. When you're doing it slow and controlled, there's no tension on your joints, there's no tension on your bones, because your muscles are taking it slow. You know, your muscles are protecting your bones, essentially. So when you remove that, you make your joints and your bones more vulnerable over time, making them more stronger. One of the last things I want to mention that is paramount for increasing your bone strength or bone density is rotational sets, such as this. It doesn't have to be exactly this, it can be any kind of way you want. Maybe you're doing bicep curls and you're making sure that you're rotating it as you're doing curls. This rotation shifts the tension on different muscles, causing your bones to become more stressed. Practically, this is the end of the video. If that's all you came for, you can click off. That's all good, but we still got a couple minutes left. I know it's a long video, but might as well just fill in the blanks a little bit. So one thing I'd like to say is, even if you don't want to get the guide, even if that's not your thing, still pull through to the Discord. Sometimes being in a little community can push you, and one of the first things I'm actually gonna do on the Discord is rating physiques live. Why would I want to do this? Basically, in the Discord, you've got different roles. It's Demon Slayer based. You got recruits, you got the lower moons, and then you got the upper moons. The better your physique is, the higher you're gonna go. If you got the best physique, you're gonna go into the upper moons category. If you still haven't managed to get a good foundation on your gains, you're gonna be on the recruit section. So if you want to find out exactly where you lie in those different categories, fall through to the Discord. One thing I will say about the video so far, you know, the training section meant to be the climax, it's a bit lackluster. You know, I could have gave you a couple more examples. You know, I'm a visual learner. I learn by watching someone else and copying them. When someone talks to me and explains me how to do something, it doesn't hit the same as watching them do it. So this little section here is basically for the people who are visual learners, the people who want to see, the people who haven't got enough visual data to find out exactly what this man means. So I took it upon myself to take this opportunity to just blast everything. Since this is a demonstration, I'm basically going to be doing everything in my power to just get a good upper body pump. Why not? You might be saying, just do legs. You're someone that doesn't do legs. Who the fuck wants to watch someone do legs? I'm not gonna bare my calves and my quads for you to look at, but that's gay, bro. Allow it. I've already taken the I've already taken the pump. Now the next step is not to be anxious when we're in the gym. What is it, bro? Pulling out the one camera. My camera isn't even a small camera like the one I'm holding now. I might have to use this one. I've got some massive 2 kilo camera, man. I feel like it takes so much space. And the last thing I want to say, thank you. If you've came this far, if you've watched the video all the way to this point, time is precious. For you to spend all this time with me, I genuinely appreciate it. So thank you very much. And we'll see you in the next one. It's a bit weird. What phrase do I use? See you in the next one. I want to create a cool one, you know.
I'm gonna have to put a pin in that one. If anyone can give me any ideas of the best thing to say when ending a video, oh, you know what, I have a good one. Sayonara. I think I'll have to keep that one.
Ela fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Ela fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Ela fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Fico maluco, maluco. Fica de quatro. Fica de quatro. Ela fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Ela fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Fica de quatro e eu fico maluco. Era pra botar na branquinha, escorregou, foi na pretinha. Era pra botar na magrinha, escorregou, entrou na gordinha. Era pra botar na xereca, escorregou, entrou no rabo. Ai, que isso? Tô com o peru desgovernado, olha, 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 tô com o peru desgovernado. Ela tá querendo namorado pra poder chamar de coxo. Eu só quero um traje novo pra brotar no serrão hoje. Já disse que eu não quero romance com ninguém. Já disse que eu não quero romance com ninguém.